This is very significant for us. We've obviously been focused on Hyvello, had our head down, and Tony was introduced to us before we were looking to raise capital, and it now gives us the war chest to expand our portfolio, diversify portfolio. We have very broad reach independently, and then with him, our reach is extraordinary in terms of deal flow.
All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Justin Rosenberg. He is the CEO of Blockmate Ventures. And Justin, it's good to have you back again. How are you?
Very well, thanks, Steve. Good to be back.
Yeah, good way to close out the year is you've closed on a $1.4 million strategic investment. This is strategic in a number of different ways, but one of which is the person that is a strategic investor, and that is Tony Gawaga. Maybe talk to me a bit about Tony and just why his involvement is so important.
Well, he's very well known in our sector, unparalleled track record, well known in Canada for Solana strategies. HODL is the ticker, going from 3 cents to $3, so 100x within 4 years. It's quite extraordinary. He's active, he's passionate about the space. Before being an entrepreneur in blockchain, he was in politics, campaigning in Europe for blockchain policies, and it's an absolute pleasure to have him and his team involved with Blockmate.
He obviously likes the direction that the company is going, and this strategic investment obviously will allow you to do a lot more of that. So just talk about being able to load up the treasury as you end off the year and get ready for 2025.
That's absolutely right, Steve. This is very significant for us. We've obviously been focused on Hyvello, had our head down, and Tony was introduced to us before we were looking to raise capital, and it now gives us the war chest to expand our portfolio, diversify portfolio. We have very broad reach independently, and then with him, our reach is extraordinary in terms of deal flow. And we're really excited to start to systemize the assessment of all of those opportunities. And we don't need to do more than one Hyvello a year. So we'll be patient and very selective.
Yeah, you mentioned Hyvello, and it has been a transformational year for Hyvello, and obviously that will continue in 2025. You mentioned, you only need one of those a year to be really successful. So, how do you take what you've learned from Hyvello into 2025 for what you'd like to do with the rest of the company?
Well, what's evolved is Hyvello, we started from scratch with very little capital, and were able to get to where we are now. As the company matures, again, following the trajectory of HODL, we're able to diversify that portfolio in stage and kind. So it could involve, not just building applications, but it could involve partnering with blockchain protocols and generating yield, just again, like the Solana strategy.
Yeah. Do you feel, Justin, that 2025 will be a very interesting year considering a new president coming into the United States? He's very a fan of a blockchain. He's a fan of crypto, Bitcoin, all that. It seems like there's a lot of opportunity what could lie ahead in the United States specifically.
Absolutely. That regime change has brought new lease of life into the sector. And it's an opportunity for all players like us to use this opportunity to build profound, I call them railway tracks that will stand the industry in good stead for the future. As you know, we're very involved in the DePIN sector, and so expanding and building digital infrastructure as that starts to become widespread and understood. We're not going to be as dependent on regime changes to justify our existence. But now's a mini boom and a really exciting time for the sector to establish itself.
Yeah. And lastly, Justin, just on the people, your investors that are looking at Blockmate Ventures and just the support you've had over this year, what do you want to say to them as you head into 2025?
Well, we're particularly, we're very focused on upcoming milestones. We've got from my perspective, the revolutionary launch of a high-yielding token in Q1 of next year, whereby within 5 minutes of setup, you could earn $50 a month on your GPU. So that's incredibly exciting. And once that's launched, we want to spread the word that that's happened. And then shortly after that, we'll have we're aiming for $20 a month on an old CPU. So laptops or desktops. So that's what's driven us for the last couple of years with Ivelo, generating that level of passive income from a 5 minute setup, providing access to passive income for anyone who doesn't even know anything about crypto.
Yeah, exciting times ahead in 2020 for sure. We look forward to sharing everyone all the information that they need to know. So, Justin, thanks so much. Great to see you again, and good luck in 2025. We'll talk soon.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, Justin Rosenberg, the CEO of Blockmate Ventures.